Hi there, everybody, and welcome to a half-episode, tiny episode. I've used the word mini episode for other shows that have gone longer than our regular shows, whereas this is an actual mini episode. This is a state of the podcast address, if you want to say it as that. The Pupcast, for any of you who have been following us, now on iTunes, and now with our own website, which, by the way, is a pretty cool website. I like what you've done with it, Mike. Yeah,
thank you.
Pupcast.
It needs work.
It still needs work, but I mean, but when I went on there, I was like, "Holy shit, this is a thing!" And this looks like stuff can come up here and pop up. But yeah, I wanted to give everybody just a little summary of what's going on with the podcast. And while we're on the topic, we actually have a little news story that came up that we wanted to talk about, hopefully in a civilized manner, that has to do with podcasts.
Civilized talk on the internet. Foolish.
Why did I invite trolls onto my show? Anyway, so, note to self, Trollcast, new possible show, and...
God damn it.
Joke's on you, nobody heard that sound effect on the show, so they're all gonna think you're laughing at my joke. Okay.
I have the power to influence everything.
Alright, well this is already failing, but yeah, I just wanted to talk about, now that we have our own thing, now that we have our own website, we're going to start expanding the Pupcast. Pupcast is still the name of the site.
That's what she said.
Oh, I forgot, it's late enough for you to be drunk in Britain right now.
Yep.
It's late enough for me to be drunk here. Why am I not? Anyway, joining me today is Mike.
Hello.
Maz.
Yep, that's me.
Maz, who still hates the fact we have an audience he has to address. And Jackson.
Hi.
There we go. I like that. It was like a little barbershop quartet starting up. Okay. But yeah, I just wanted to give everybody a little State of the Pupcast address. Now that we have our own site, we are going to start expanding. We have a couple of new shows planned that are coming up. Maz, you now have your own TV show that you want to tell everybody what you plan for that? Or at least what
I shall lord over it as Skeletor lords over his rightful home of wherever the hell He-Man takes place. I'm going to talk about TV, y'all. We gotta find someone to talk about TV with. It's going to be called Week In TV, Week-In-TV. Spell week as you want. I already got a Tumblr set up for it. weekendtv@gmail.com.
So if anybody needs to know where to go for good Hannibal gifts, the Tumblr account is there. What was that?
I won't make the gifts, though, because I won't be the one making the gifts, though.
Oh, well, I know.
Because that takes time, and I'm lazy.
Obviously.
Plenty of cat pictures, though.
Okay. But yeah, so Maz will be having his own now TV program. And it's going to be, do you have an idea of what you want the schedule to be? Bi-weekly, monthly, weekly?
Weekly, preferably. Bi-weekly if it has to. There's no point in doing a TV podcast monthly.
Yeah, I was about to say. But yeah, I don't want to force you to...
I will man my own ship if I have to. Which will probably be terrible, but I will do it.
Wait, I thought that was the whole point, you'd be manning your own ship on this thing.
I know, but I meant I would go it alone, which is
okay.
idea. I am not Jordan Breen on Thursdays.
Alright, and those are plenty of references you'll get if you enjoy television, and will enjoy the Weekend TV podcast. We have some other shows coming up. We now have a video game show that is in production. I know Callum wants to do that one, but Callum is a college student who has far more important things to attend to. So Callum will definitely be on that show, but we will work out who will be the person in charge of it as events come. Plus, I know that Callum doesn't have access to his computer as much as the rest of us do, so Callum will be on that one, but we still don't know who's going to be hosting it. But that will be a bi-weekly show. It's not going to be like a video game news show. It's not going to be a, hey, here's the most recent thing that's come out, because we don't have the cash to keep up with that. It's going to be just more of a, hey, here's stuff to talk about with video games. It is literally the hanging out in your apartment on the couch, just talking about video games podcast. We'll think of a shorter title for it to come.
The Persona 4 podcast.
There's already a Persona cast.
God damn it! Why aren't I listening to that?
Because it's not that good.
Oh, no!
Listen, there's two kinds of podcasts out there. There's the entertaining kind and there's the informative kind. And that podcast is informative as hell if you want to know about Persona. Everybody on there knows everything that they could possibly know about Persona. But you find out everything you need to know about Persona by 2 episodes, and then it's like, wow, these people are kind of boring. I'm still trying to figure out which of those 2 kinds of podcasts we are. But
we're definitely not informative.
No, we've been proven not to be many times. Is dickish the third option? Because I think we're closer to that. But
More like
yes,
passive aggressive.
Yeah, there we go. We're the passive aggressive cast. All right. But we also are now going to start having some video stuff coming up. I've mentioned for a while now that Michelle and I are doing a little video game playthrough thing. Basically, the idea behind that is that I'm terrible at certain kinds of games, while good at others, and Michelle is good at certain kinds of games, but terrible at others. And we're basically just going to both play the kinds of games that we're terrible at. So feel free laughing at us throughout those. But if any of you guys also have video ideas that you want to do, don't let us be the only ones doing a video game one if you guys also want to do a video game one. I'm fully open to anybody else doing any kind of video program that they want. I might do some on the street kind of things coming up recently. There's no point in living in a big city like this unless you don't take advantage of it.
Just ask people random questions. We will provide you with questions that you have to ask to random people on the subway. Go.
That was actually one of the shows I used to do when I worked for that con artist. I wrote crazy, insane questions for this guy with no charisma at all to go up to people and ask. Which at first was kind of a failure.
This sounds like how you get stabbed in New York.
Oh, I'm shocked he didn't. But yeah, I wouldn't have gotten stabbed.
What were some of the questions?
Geez, a lot of them were like fake news story things. Like one of them was, did you hear that? Like after Bob Barker retired from, what was the show he was on? Price is Right.
Price is Right.
Yeah, like our boss kept going. I want more questions about hip-hop. Come up with as many questions about hip-hop as you can. So as a joke, I wrote, what do you think of the fact that Bob Barker has said that now he's going to start his own hip-hop empire after retiring from The Price is Right? And people believed it. So,
if you go around with a camera and a microphone and you go up to someone, they'll probably believe whatever you're saying.
That's a very incredibly true statement. But yeah, so those are just some of the things that we have coming up. I also want to do a little bit more changes. Now that we have more shows coming up, a lot of us are going to be more busy with our own individual things. But for a while now, I've been saying that we need to kind of get the Pupcast itself shorter in length, with a little bit fewer members. Don't get me wrong, there are episodes where we have tons of people on, and it's lots of fun, and it works out great. Those are few and far between. So we can still have those occasionally, but I want to try and get running more efficiently with fewer people, shorter time. But anyway, that's just the things that we have coming up. And now, going into the news story that kind of brought us all here, Mike, there's something that you wanted to talk about. Just give us the rundown of everything that has to do with this story.
Alright, so basically this is all about with the podcast and surrounding Penny Arcade specifically. Now, I'm sure we all know Penny Arcade. We've read the comic at one point or another. You know, you love it, you hate it, you know, whatever. So, apparently they used to do this podcast series called Downloadable Content a few years ago. And they did it in their spare time, just kind of about the creative process of them coming up with their comics, you know, each one. So I guess they did that for a while, and then they stopped it a few years ago because I guess one of the main people, you know, was editing the podcast in their spare time, and they just couldn't do it anymore. So now Penny Arcade has once again taken to Kickstarter to get their fans to pledge so they can start the podcast series again. Now, you might go, okay, well, if I really like Penny Arcade, I might, you know, contribute to that. You know, that, you know, they're saying, oh, we need a dedicated audio guy. We need, you know, new equipment, blah, blah, blah. Okay, sure. I could maybe understand that. The problem here is that their goal for this was $10. 10 measly dollars.
Wait, what?
Wait, that's what all the anger is about is that their goal was low.
No.
Hold on. He's got more to go. He's got more.
Okay.
Yeah. So their goal is $10, and and then they conveniently put in these stretch goals, which were originally, you had to keep donating to unlock that stretch goal, but they eventually just removed all that and showed everybody, hey, this is what all of our stretch goals are going to be if you give us this much money. And to me, it's just, for somebody as big as Penny Arcade, this whole thing is completely unnecessary in my opinion. Like, if all they really needed is $10, to me, it just kind of seems like a slap in the face to not only their fans, but to people who actually could use the money to actually purchase equipment to do a podcast where people actually might want to listen to whatever, the topic is at hand. For Penny Arcade, there's such a huge site now. They sell, I don't know, how much merchandise they sell, but I'm sure they sell a lot of merchandise. They have two, events, on the East Coast and West Coast every year that probably draw in a lot of money. Granted, they do some good stuff with Child's Play, stuff like that. But to me, it kind of defeats the whole point of Kickstarter, for one, and for two, to have this arbitrary goal of $10, and then, but hey, if you give us this much more money, then we'll include this or that. I don't know. To me, it just completely angers me as someone who, I purchased, the Pupcast domain. All of us, we're doing this podcast in our spare time. We all, we're in college, we work full-time jobs, we have lives outside of this, and we're not, seeing a single dime. I thought about doing a Kickstarter for this, but ultimately I kind of figured, well, one, what am I going to give as goals to people? And two, do we even have enough people that care about the podcast that would even, it would reach its goal? Maybe that, if we, did get big enough, down the road, maybe that is something to look into, but to me, I kind of see like they have enough money, they have enough popularity, for them to go to their fans or to non-fans and say, hey, give us money. I think it's just the biggest scam ever, honestly.
Well, now, hold on. Wasn't there another part of this story where they were also going to charge per download for the show?
Yeah, you could pay what you want and do.
Yes, you could do
2 weeks after it's a 2-week exclusivity period for the Kickstarter backers. Then after that 2 weeks, they do a pay what you want for the podcast, and they're like, yeah, you can just hit in $0 and we're good.
But you can't do $0 for a Kickstarter, though. You have to give them some amount of money. Their lowest amount that you can pledge is $10. So right there, you can't sit there and go.
I remember them. I read that one of them saying we chose $10 because one, it's kind of funny, and two, whatever we put, most likely the people would have backed that much anyway. So yeah, if we were wrong and only one person wanted to do it, well, there's $10 and we got it. We're good. And like most Kickstarters now are built around the stretch goals. So like them having these obscenely high stretch goals, like they're currently at $91,409. And like, hey, I am all for this because I see this as probably the best way to monetize a podcast.
But here's the biggest problem with that, though. Podcasts shouldn't cost a fucking dime. Podcasts should be free. Should. So, and that's the other thing that kind of disgusts me and disgusts a lot of people, I think, is that it's a podcast. You can get a podcast about anything on iTunes or elsewhere for free. People put, do a podcast so they get listeners. So, hey, they go to their website, they get clicks, they get ad revenue if they have ads, etc., etc. They get members, whatever. But I don't know. To me, it's just so disgusting to, say, well, you need to pay us so you have the privilege of listening, to.
Early. Well, that's the whole point of the Kickstarter. Their product is the podcast, which fulfills the Kickstarter goal. They will do, I believe they said 20 episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know about you, but I listen to Shit on Radio Network. I used to listen to a lot of tech TV stuff, and I also did any of y'all follow Jeff Gerstmann on Tumblr?
No.
No.
Oh, well, I do. And he's constantly talking about how like they're searching for ways to monetize the Giant Bombcast in a good way. Because, like, hey, that shit's 3 hours long. Okay, at best, you could argue that podcasting as a feature is a loss leader, but that's still like 3 hours. Like, could probably make a video in that time and make more money.
But here's the thing, Giant Bomb, they do videos though. They do videos about pointless shit that don't even involve gaming at all. And yeah, some of those are entertaining, but when you're as big as Giant Bomb or Penny Arcade, you really don't need people's money, especially when you've already got memberships. People are paying memberships to get this content to begin with, or even not. I mean, I can understand having like a premium, like the premium videos that are available to like members only, like Giant Bomb or whatever. I don't know if Penny Arcade does a membership like that too, where like, oh, you get exclusive access to behind the scenes video of packs or whatever. But that's fine. If you want to include that as like, hey, you pay a yearly membership or a monthly membership and this is what you get for that, that's fine. But to go to Kickstarter and say, hey, I mean, because if they're...
Go.
Well, I was just saying, like, if you look at what you can pledge for their Kickstarter, like, you could pledge up to $10,000 for something, which is just...
Well, yeah, that's insane, and that's why they've limited it to one, and no one's done it because that's insane.
Right, but it's insane that people are.
If it's their money, I'm very like libertarian when it comes to the internet and Kickstarter. In that, if the crowd decides they want it, good for them. I do not have to do that. I don't really like Penny Arcade. Like I went to PAX twice. Love PAX. PAX is fun, but like I don't find their comic that funny and stuff. Anyway, did you listen to Retronauts, Idle Thumbs, Comedy Button?
No. I don't.
Okay. Okay, yeah, like Idle Thumbs came back as a Kickstarter. A Cast of Kings, an unofficial podcast about Game of Thrones, is a Kickstarter-backed podcast because they basically say in their original pitch was, we loved doing this show, but we are very busy and we can't afford to do things that don't make us our living instead of things that do. And I'm all for the monetization of this stuff because, like, I've been thinking about the like monetization of the internet just because that's what I kind of do. But anyway, like, I'm all for this because they are offering a product. You can choose to back it. A lot of people apparently have. It's like at 2,000 backers. 2,354 backers, and that's what they're doing. Good on them.
Well, I'm going to try and come in somewhere in between you guys, try and ease this over, which will probably just make both of you angry.
No, I'm not angry. I'm chill.
Maz is always chill, yet he always kind of sounds furious. I don't know. We should have made you the bear in the comics. I don't know. My feelings on it is that you can monetize podcasts, and yeah, I do believe that you should find ways to monetize the internet for yourself, because yeah, this is a business that you're trying to go into. I mean, it'd be great if we could monetize the Pupcast, but at the same time, there are podcasts I listen to that put out pay episodes. Like, I listen to Doug Loves Movies and the Comedy Film Nerds, and Doug Loves Movies puts out about 2 free episodes a week. Comedy Film Nerds puts out 1 free episode a week, and they're always there. They always hit those dates. But sometimes they have, like, a very special thing. Like, the Comedy Film Nerds is usually just recorded in their basement. Sometimes they go out and host it in a big theater with lots of special guests. And for those ones, they will charge, but they still put out that regular show every single week. And I think that's fine, because, yeah, you kind of have... I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't want to be one of these people who say, hey, I didn't pay anything for this, but you have given me an expectation for it to be out once a week. You should do it. But at the same time, you have set that out there. That is your standard rate. It is good to be able to do that. So yeah, at that point, there's nothing wrong with them coming out and putting out that one special one that they pay for because they want that to be their career. And same with Doug Loves Movies. He's putting out 2 or 3 free episodes a week. So for once every month to put out a pay episode that's only $2, I'm fine with that. And I'm also, when it comes to the unknowns out there, putting out a Kickstarter, I think that's good, if for no other reason than it does help publicize yourself. It does help get your name out there, I feel.
Kickstarter put up a blog on the 9th about, like, who is Kickstarter. They mentioned, like, how their metrics all rose when the Veronica Mars and Zach Braff... Let me just read the sentence. The Veronica Mars and Zach Braff projects have brought tens of thousands of new people to Kickstarter. 63% of those people had never backed projects before. And it's just one of those high tide raises all boats thing. Same thing happened with the Double Fine Kickstarter. Like, I never really heard a Kickstarter before. I was like, oh, I might back that, or I might not.
So it is actually helping, like, everybody. Everybody is succeeding more as these big industries get in here. Because I think that was a fear that a lot of people had with Kickstarter to begin with.
Like, yeah, I kind of think it is... Could Zach Braff, with his net worth, find some place to find $3 million he asked for, $2 million, something like that? Like, could he? Sure, but if people want to give him the money, go for it. Because, like, in the end, what the Kickstarters are liable for are the rewards, and they are not you're not liable for them to. They're not held liable to complete their project. They're only held to the fact that they need to give you your reward, like your T-shirt. Yeah, exactly.
But at the same time, like, I do, like I was saying, I do think that Kickstarter is good for a podcast, because there are people that need to monetize. There's a video game podcast I listen to, The Loading Bar, and they recently were like, listen, man, we've been doing this for over a year. We've got lots of fans. We want to actually become official. Like, we are a big fan thing, but we want to actually be official. We want to go to E3. We want to be able to afford all the things that we need to be able to try out all the games to give you guys reviews on. So we're going to do a 12-hour-long video game playthrough in which you guys can donate while we're doing it, like a telethon. And once again, I'm fine with that, because, they're getting out there and they're dancing for their dollar. And also, they were not at the professional level. But with the Penny Arcade guys, the $10 seems like a joke. And people totally have the right to it. I'm not coming in here and saying, no, people do not have the right to give them their money. I'm not saying they don't have the right to ask for this. It's totally in the right. Nobody's saying we should call the cops on these guys. But, to me it also feels like McDonald's is very successful, and they have the right to charge you for ketchup packets if they want, and for straws and napkins. But I feel like it'd be a dick move if they did it, and I feel like Penny Arcade is at that level, in which is like, yeah, man, this is kind of a dick move. You're totally in the right.
Well, it's not like you can still wait 2 weeks to get the podcast and hit $0 when it goes up to the public.
I think we're ignoring the reason anyone likes these things. So, right, if you think about it, the reason Penny Arcade worked, the reason people like Penny Arcade in the first place is because it is about two average, normal gaming people doing their average, normal gaming things, but being kind of witty about it. And they have built a business, like, fucking empire out of that. And people, it's really hard to, like, grasp that, because you listen to podcasts because they're not produced TV. They are people just talking shit. And it's hard to get around the mental block of, wait, I don't want to think that someone else is being paid to fuck about and then I'm gaining enjoyment from that. You want it to be an inclusive thing on an equal level. And Penny Arcade...
Oh, God, no.
I'm not... I don't really think that's it. No.
No, I'm just saying there's a sort like with Penny Arcade where when you have a show that is basically like the whole like the site presents itself as very low key and very average and very about fucking around, it's hard to monetize that. Because
I mean, they monetized it before this. I mean,
I know. That's why I'm saying that they had the pod. Yeah, well, go.
Oh, did anyone look at their first Kickstarter where they said no? If we raise this goal, we can run the site with no ads for a year.
Yep.
Yes.
Because I was all for that too.
Yeah.
I don't go to Penny Arcade, so I didn't kick in because I was like, I don't go to your places. Although I do like the Penny Arcade report. But yeah, once again, they were like, here's our product. We can offer that product. Here are our rewards. Meet the standards of Kickstarter. good on them.
Yeah, but again, when you have things, again, like Penny Arcade, when they're rolling in the money, I mean, let's face it, I mean, you've got 2 PAX events every year. They
Soon to
sell
be 3.
boatloads, well, exactly, you have boatloads of merchandise, t-shirts, prints, all that shit, that they're selling, they're making, I mean, they're probably paying pennies on the dollar, they're making, a lot of profit on that. When they do shit like this, it takes away from people who actually have Kickstarters that actually need that money. I mean, I'm not like, yeah, if you want to back them, that's fine. I think you're an idiot, but that's my opinion. They can certainly do it, but I think it defeats the point of Kickstarter. I think Kickstarter is, it's supposed to be for like the people that actually need have a dream, have a vision. They want to do something. Hey, maybe it's gonna end up being a complete piece of shit, but maybe it's gonna be one of the next greatest inventions out there. And to have these big guys coming in, Veronica Mars, Penny Arcade, whomever it is, to come in and say like, oh, I need this much money so I can do this, and you need to back me, like completely. It completely defeats the point of Kickstarter to me.
I wouldn't
But
really
that's
throw
the constant
Veronica.
struggle of the internet.
Well, I wouldn't really throw Veronica Mars in with that, because with Veronica Mars, I do think the Kickstarter should also be for things where, hey, I want to support this. I mean, I want to support Veronica Mars. I don't. Well, okay, I don't actually watch Veronica Mars, so that's a poor example. But a Veronica Mars fan. I fully believe you. They took it off Netflix, so I can't. But I fully believe that, there's plenty of things that I'm geeky about that don't have the ability to come up and to make it on their own. There's tons of movies I'd love to see a sequel to that did not do well enough that no one's going to support. There's tons of, video games out there that I love that didn't get enough support that aren't going to get a sequel. And so I can relate to them. And yeah, I would love it if there was a place out there where somebody would say, hey man, we can make this, but they're not going to let us. Like with the Veronica Mars, the studio was not going to give them the money for that unless they could actually match a certain amount. So I fully am behind that. But with Penny Arcade guys, you're right. These are guys who, listen, I wish we could hire on someone just to edit our stuff. If we could do that, we'd have a show out every single day. We'd be doing like 5 reviews every single week.
Aaron wouldn't be cranky and insane.
I'd still have to talk to you guys, so that's not totally true. But
that cuts me real deep.
Would you mind checking the oil under that bus that I just threw you under? Sorry. But yeah, I would be less cranky and insane. We can easily say that. But the thing is that with these guys, we don't have the ability to pay for that. So I fully understand that they want to hire on some guy to edit their shows. Because, yeah, that makes podcasting so much easier and so much more fun. But they have the ability to do that already. And I think that them going there and using this, it's kind of dickish to me. I wish there was a better, more mature word for it, but...
Well,
they
the
could
fact
have
was that
easily
they had the podcast, and they did it, and they basically replaced it with a TV show, which could get them more money.
Oh, yeah.
And
but yeah.
Then what they did as well was for the other... The thing I was more annoyed about was making the podcast this just ridiculous $500,000 stretch goal on their first podcast, which they knew that's the one that everyone wanted. And if they put that, then they'd get $500,000 on something that's just to remove adverts. And they didn't quite reach it, but they got pretty high on people going, if I throw in, maybe then we'll finally get the podcast back. It's a really weird thing, because you get, everyone was asking for it. They clearly don't want to do it because it doesn't make them money. And I don't know, it's weird. I don't think Kickstarter was the right way to do it at all. I think Kickstarter is the wrong venue for that. But
I think Kickstarter is the right venue because it is the largest platform.
No,
They said, they could have easily...
No. The largest platform is their own fucking website. If you won't do it because you don't have money, you go, hi, we weren't doing this because we didn't have money. Pay us $5 a month, and we will give you don't call it a podcast, call it the access, you will have this RSS feed, you'll have the making of all the things, we'll record that for you.
I fully agree with Jackson on this one. Like I was referencing with the Loading Bar guys, the other video game podcast guys, they went to their own site, and they were like, man, we're going to do this for 12 hours, and we may not even make it to the tickets to E3. And before the show even began, they hit their E3 goal because they went directly to their fans and we said, we're going to do something specifically for you fans. We're going to work for this money.
Yeah, like Gamers with Jobs folk. Did any of y'all listen to them?
No.
No.
Shout-outs to the Gamers with Jobs. No, they do a yearly fundraiser, too. And honestly, I think they should just do a Kickstarter next year. Just, once again, because there is an ubiquitous. Yeah, that word. With saying Kickstarter. And it's a lot easier. Like, all of them could easily install the little Amazon PayPal plugin chip-in thing. But, like, point them to a Kickstarter, it's a lot easier.
Well, also Kickstarter
they don't get all the technical.
Well, also
all the
Kickstarter
funds
advertises. Like you just said, does anyone listen to Gamers with Job? We all said no. You say to anybody on the internet, do you know Penny Arcade? They all say yes. The Gamers with Job, yeah, that's helping them to get their word out to people who normally would not know. They can still go to their own place and get the word out there as well. Penny Arcade, when someone that giant who has the ability to use it somewhere else, like, with the Veronica Mars thing, they didn't have the ability to gather the money anywhere else. With the Penny Arcade guys, they fully have the ability to go on their own site.
Oh, yeah. They could have, but, yeah, they didn't. I don't really, like Penny Arcade either, so. I love PAX, but, yeah.
I do think there is a point where you say you do have a responsibility to not fuck cool things up. I know business is business and they're going to make
the
money.
Internet. It's always going to get fucked up.
I know, but you want to believe...
But you want to be the guy who
I'm
does
cynical.
That doesn't mean we should say, oh, businesses are going to fuck everything up, therefore we shouldn't say it's wrong.
Yeah.
We should say, no, you should be more responsible. This shouldn't be for that. Because Kickstarter, the thing is that Kickstarter doesn't have a defined identity, so therefore that doesn't mean it should be for the businesses. This means that it's up to the people that use it to speak out and define it as what they want it to be. And that's how you stop that. Obviously, it's not happening because someone goes, yo, they're remaking Firefly, give money now. Everyone does it,
Well, I don't even think, I'm glad you brought that up because I think even people have gone, asked Joss Whedon, why don't you take to something like Kickstarter? And, he won't. I mean, granted, he's so busy now with the Avengers and all that stuff, but I think there is a time and a place for projects like that. I think there needs to be a new venue for already established, products, merchandise, whatever you want to call it, to say, hey, we would like you to donate for this. I think Kickstarter needs to go back to being for, the people that want it. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't say we should. I say we should just let the crowd define what they want, and if they want it, good. They will pay for it.
But it's the internet. People are fucking stupid and don't know what they...
We know the crowd will decide what they want. It's not that we don't think they should want or have that, but the people offering it should place their goods or their services responsibly. They shouldn't put it in the wrong arenas and start fucking things up for everyone. It is more complicated than that.
Yeah, but
yeah,
Kickstarter is an easy thing to do.
That doesn't make it right, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, it's
just because they can. I mean, they could have very easily just said, "Hey, we want to do this special podcast. Here's our PayPal donate button. We'll keep a running tally once we hit this mark. Hey, we can do it again." You didn't have to go to Kickstarter. I mean, I've got the Pupcast has a PayPal link at the bottom of the page. If someone comes and is like, "Hey, we really like the Pupcast. Hey, you want to donate whatever amount of money you want?" That's awesome. I love you, whoever does that. But if you don't, hey, I think you have to earn it, and I think that when you're big enough, I don't think there is a time and a place of where you go to ask for money for whatever it is you want. And again, Kickstarter is not the place when you've gotten to, the level of, success that Penny Arcade has gotten to.
Basically, Mike, you feel like Donald Trump is going to the soup kitchen for a free meal right now.
Yeah, kind of.
It's not that I'm saying that the Penny Arcade guys are as big as Donald Trump. He's just the only guy that came to mind when I thought of random rich man.
Right.
The Monopoly guy. Yeah, and I throw my finger at that building every time I walk past that big, ugly piece of shit. That thing is hideous. Sorry.
I mean, this is just another venue of the internet war of old, traditional, already entrenched media using new media to further entrench themselves, and the little guy constantly just having to fight for it. But that's the internet.
But the biggest difference with this, than even the Zach Braff one, even the Veronica Mars one, is those were all, and the same with all the Tiny Bridge, or someone really wants to do something, and they need money to achieve
maybe
it.
they really want to do it too.
No, but Penny Arcade didn't want to do it. They didn't want to do it for years. That's why they stopped it. They knew it wasn't a good way to get money. The only reason they're bringing it back is to shut everyone up and try to get money in the process. If you follow the path of where the story of this podcast has gone, it's not been we have an idea and we want to bring it. It's been, we have an idea, we're going to try to turn it to this to get money. Then we'll try and turn it to this to get money. And then they're giving up and saying, just give us money and we'll do it.
Yeah.
Rather than admitting that and being honest about it and going, look, fine, just give us money and we'll do it. They've hidden it behind Kickstarter, which does have a different identity, and it is dishonest.
Yeah. I hate to interrupt after that because that was a great point, but Mike, you need to go.
Yeah, so
I
think we're good.
I've been late to the dentist many times. My dentist always gets super pissed at me, so I'm not going to make you do that. But yeah, I think this was a very fulfilling discussion. It was short, I think. But yeah, I think that we had a really good discussion. That this is a start of something good for the Pupcast. That this is a nice little short thing we can do, easy to edit together. I do want to start doing something on Sundays as well, and this could be a fun little thing. Just we take one little news story, get together, and just as long as we don't get too passionate or emotional about, I think this could be a fun thing to do each week. Let us know what you think. Comment below. Go to thepupcast.com, go to iTunes and find us, go to our YouTube channel. There's lots of ways to get in touch with us. Everybody give your Twitter handles before you leave.
I'm Mike. You can find me on Twitter at msurerus. That's MSURERUS.
Even when you say that, I still don't understand how that comes out as that word.
Cereris?
Yeah.
Yep. Hey, Aaron got
Yeah,
it.
I've been practicing.
Yeah. I'm Maz. You can find me on Twitter at MazM. 2 M's, 2 Z's, and an A in the middle.
I'm Talia002. That's spelt just like it sounds.
Yeah.
It's as stupid as it sounds.
I'm at Aaron's Demon. I'm taking that back. I'm at The Obscure Fan. I wish I was at Aaron's Demon. That's a better name. But yeah, so you can find me there. And you can find all of us each week on thepupcast.com, on iTunes and on YouTube, as I said. And come back next week. Thanks, and look out for our Iron Man 3 review coming shortly.